what I've come to realize, most men, they don't know what gratitude really feels like. Like we know how to say the words when someone does us a favor, and we know how to bow our head at Thanksgiving when everyone goes around the table, but real fucking gratitude, the kind that lives in your bones and changes the way you carry your pain. Most of us never got taught that. And if I'm honest with you, for a long time, I thought gratitude was this soft skill, something nice to have if life was going well, something that you pull out on vacation when the sun hits just right, and you want to tell yourself how lucky you are. But then life happens, and life has a way of kicking your teeth in, doesn't it? You think that you're strong, you think that you're steady, and then one day you wake up and your marriage is cold and your kids don't look at you. Your bank account is bleeding. The man in the mirror feels like a stranger, right? It's in those moments when you're on your knees and all the weight of years is starting to press down on you. Gratitude needs to stop being optional in those moments. It needs to become a lifeline. And I want to talk to you about that right now. Why is it so important? How do you actually practice gratitude? And I want to give you one simple framework that can remind you that it could always be worse. That shift can take you out of despair and into something solid that you can stand on. Because I know what it feels like when life corners you, when you're one bad day away from snapping at the people you love, and your chest is so fucking tight that you don't even know if you can take another breath without feeling crushed. I need you guys to know gratitude is not about ignoring your pain. It's not about pretending that things don't hurt. It's not about gaslighting yourself into thinking that your problems are not real, because they're real. They're very real. And they're heavy. I get that. But they're also yours. And gratitude is not about denial. Gratitude is an oxygen, you guys. It's saying, yes, this hurts like hell, but I'm still here. And that means I'm not done yet. That's why this matters, because without any form of gratitude, life becomes one long complaint. And I've lived that way. I've watched other men live that way. Strong on the outside, bitter on the inside. Always finding what's wrong. Always carrying anger like it's an armor. Always stuck in this loop of, why me? Why are you picking on me, God? And gratitude interrupts that. Gratitude pulls your eyes up from the dirt and it shows you the horizon again. Even if it's a cloudy day. Even if it's far away. It shows you that there's something more than just the pain. But you want to know the tricky part? You have to practice it. Especially when you don't feel it. Gratitude on good days, that's easy. Anyone can smile when the sun is shining, right? When the money's flowing, when your wife is laughing, when the sex is awesome, when you have that connection, when your kids, they really want to be near you and you're surrounded by love. Gratitude is easy then. That doesn't take any strength. Real gratitude, the kind that transforms you from the inside out, is when you can sit in the middle of a storm, soaked to the bone, and still whisper thank you. Not because you like the storm, but because you know that storms don't last forever. Not because you wanted the storm, but because there's something that you can enjoy about the rain. That you can dance in the middle of it. So how do you actually practice it? You guys, the framework, the simple reframe I want to give you, and one that I keep coming back to, is simple. Like when life hits me sideways, when I'm full of anger and shame, regret, rage, or fear, when my system is being flooded in a negative way, I pause. Breathe as long as you need to. Take those deep breaths. And instead of asking, why is life picking on me? Tell yourself, it could always be worse. You guys, that's the doorway. It's simple, so small. This could always be worse. Shift your perspective. No matter how bad it feels, it could always be worse. And I don't mean that in a dismissive kind of way. All right. I mean, it's not that you're comparing your pain to someone else's so that you feel guilty for hurting. I mean, recognizing that even in the worst moments, there is still something holding you here, something that you have not lost yet, something that you can grab onto. You guys, that's gratitude. So let me give you an example. I remember a season where money was really tight, tighter than I had ever expected it to be. Bills stacked high, creditors calling, that pit in my stomach every time I opened the mailbox. And I remember one day, I just sat there angry, frustrated, confused, so embarrassed, drowning in shame like we do. And then I caught myself and I took that deep breath and told myself, you know what? This could be worse. I looked around and I realized I still had a roof over my head. I still had food in the fridge. I could still feed my son. I still had my body. I still had my hands. I still had my mind. I was not in the ground yet. I still had the tools to climb out of the pit that I was in. No, it did not erase the bills, but it steadied me enough so that I could come up with a plan instead of giving up. And another time, in a fight with someone that I loved, words flying sharp, chest hot, hands calm, clammy, and I wanted to walk out the door and not come back. I stopped, took a deep breath. It could always be worse. And in that moment, I realized I wasn't alone. The person that I had was still there, still in the room, still trying, even if it didn't look pretty. The gratitude shifted me. And instead of storming out, I stayed. We figured it out in that moment. You see how this works, guys? Gratitude does not erase the problem. It just keeps the problem from swallowing you whole. And that's the practice. Pause and tell yourself, this could be worse. And from that place, find something to be grateful for. I don't care how small it is. I don't care how small these things that you're grateful for are. Maybe it's the cup of coffee that you had this morning. Maybe it's that your car started. Maybe it's that you can walk outside and feel the air on your face. And that's it, you guys. That's how you can train your nervous system to calm down, to slow down. That's how you stop reacting out of anger, stop spiraling into shame, stop repeating those old patterns that are ruining your relationships. Gratitude gives you a choice. And I'll be real with you, sometimes you'll have to practice it 100 times a day. Sometimes life is going to throw so many punches that you'll feel like you're choking on them. And that's when you need it most, because you guys, gratitude is a muscle. And you do not build muscle by lifting once. You build it by showing up rep after rep after rep, especially when you don't want to. And the more you practice gratitude in the small things, the more it'll be there for you in the big ones. Imagine, guys, like your wife blaming you for something you didn't do, or your boss disrespecting you, or clients not showing up, or your kids ignoring you. And instead of blowing up or shutting down, taking a breath and reminding yourself that it could be worse. It could be so much fucking worse right now. And then find one thing in that moment to be grateful for. You didn't lose your temper. You don't say words that you regret. You stand tall. You guys, that's the power of gratitude. And it can turn a boy who reacts into a man who responds. It turns chaos into clarity. It turns despair into resilience. And I really want you to hear me on this. Gratitude is not about becoming soft. Gratitude makes you harder to knock down. Gratitude is strength in disguise. It is disguised as humility. And it's one of the greatest tools that you'll ever have if you're serious about becoming the man you're meant to be. So let me land right here, okay? Gratitude is important because without it, bitterness wins. Gratitude is practiced by pausing, by breathing, by telling yourself it could always be worse. And then naming the things that you have in your life. And that's the framework. It's simple. Repeat it until it becomes a habit, until it becomes natural. That's how you can heal. That's how you stop carrying decades of unspoken pain. That's how you stop blowing up your relationships. That's how you stop running from yourself. And you guys, you don't have to do it alone either, okay? This is exactly the kind of work that we do in my community on school. We're practicing gratitude. We're practicing emotional regulation. We're practicing facing the pain without numbing it. And we do it shoulder to shoulder with other men who get it, other guys who have been through the fire. And if you've been carrying that weight for so long, numbing and performing and running and blowing up, feeling like you're never enough, I want you to come join us. Click the link down below. There's a 7-day free trial. Come see for yourself. If you need someone to talk to, also, like if you want to do one-on-one, if you're on the edge and you know that you have nowhere else to turn to, book a call with me. That link is also down below. Don't wait, you guys. Okay, this idea of gratitude is not just an idea, it's a weapon. This is your oxygen. And once you learn how to breathe with it, everything changes.